Alright, so I'm recording the first part of our lesson again because the recording that I did with the class deleted, and I want everybody to have this information. Alright, so let's look at question number 1. The factory making the math cards ships a box with decks of cards to a warehouse. How much does each deck of cards weigh? So if you look at your picture, you see that in one box, the total weight of that box is going to be 275 pounds. Inside that box is 1,000 deck of cards. So question A says, how can you determine the weight of one deck of cards? Since the total weight is going to be 275 pounds, then to figure out what one deck would weigh, you divide that by how many decks you have. So that would be 275 divided by 1,000 is going to give us the weight of one deck. Okay? Dividing by 1,000 is the same as multiplying by what fraction? Well, if you are dividing by a whole number, that is the same as multiplying by one of that whole number. That means 1 over 1,000. So 1 over 1,000 would be the same, or multiplying by 1 over 1,000 would be the same as dividing by the whole number 1,000. C asks you, what is the decimal equivalent of 1 over 1,000? We learned when we were writing the decimals in expanded form that if a decimal is in the 10th place, that's 0, 0.1, then the fraction is going to be 1 over 10. If it was 0 over 0 and 0 hundredth, the fraction is going to be 1 over 100. So what would 1 over 1,000 be? So 1 over 1,000 would be 0.001. 1,000. Alright, D wants us to complete the pattern and do the multiplication. We have 275 times 1. Come on, guys. That is really easy. That's just going to be 275. That is the identity property of multiplication, which says if you multiply any number times 1, you get that identity. You get that number. The next one is going to be 275 times 1/10. We know, we just talked about it in the problem of the day. When you multiply by a fraction or a decimal, what song are you going to sing? That's right. You are going to sing part of Beyonce. Fractions and decimals are part. So you sing part of Beyonce. To the left, to the left. So we're going to move our decimal to the left. Alright, so in our number, we have 275. Your decimal is right here. We have 1 digit behind the decimal, so we move our decimal to the left, 1 place. That's right, so our answer ends up being 27 and 5/10. For our next one, we're doing 275 times 100. Okay, so that is a decimal, so we're going to move part of Beyonce's song to the left. So we have 275. Your decimal is here. There are 2 digits behind the decimal, so we move 2 digits. So that would be 2 and 7,500. Alright, come on, you can do the last one. 275 times 1,000. That's going to be 275. We have a decimal right here. We're moving a decimal, so we're moving to the left. There are 3 numbers behind that decimal, so that is 1, 2, 3, and put your decimal. So that is 2 and 275,000. He wants us to write the pattern if we were multiplying by the whole numbers. So that's 275 times 1. Again, the identity property says that is 275. 275 times 10. We are multiplying now by a whole number. When we are multiplying by a whole number, we do the whole dance of the Cupid shuffle to the right. Yes, so we're moving to the right. 1, 0, so 1 place to the right. So we have 275. Decimal is here. 1 place to the right. We have to put a 0. So when we multiply times 10, that's 2,750. When we do 100, that is 2 places. So that's going to be 1, 2. Add that 0. So that's 27,500. And 1,000, we have to move 3 places. So that is, color so you can see, decimal here, 1, 2, and 3. Gotta put another 0. So that's gonna be 275,000. 275,000. All right, question F says, what can you conclude about the relationship between part B and part E? In part B, we are multiplying by fractions or decimals. Remember, those two are equivalent. And what is happening to our place value? What is happening to the digits? What is happening when we move the decimal? Is it getting bigger or is it getting smaller? In part D, the values are decreasing. In part E, when we're multiplying by whole numbers, the values are increasing. If you're looking in part B, these numbers are getting smaller. We're going from 275 to 27 5/10 to 2 7500 to 275,000. Alright, make sure you continue on to part 2, which was done with students in the class. So I hope everything is fine. If you have any questions, you know I am always here. Have a good day, and do not forget that you also must complete your daily standards and problem of the day. There are